Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ha, Rakah Kwadash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elders of GMS. Salutations to the sincere Aki pushing this truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm the Car Karab Ban Yasharala coming out of the Lion's Den camp. And today I'll be coming out with a little lesson. And the title of that lesson is Esau is the real terrorist. Because as you know, Esau like to go around the four corners of the earth committing robberies, murders, he like to do all kind of manner of wickedness around the earth, and then he like to try and label other people as terrorists that don't want to do or don't want to get with his program. But when the truth of the matter is, Esau is the real terrorist. The so-called white people, the biblical Edomites, are the so-called terrorists upon this earth. Just look at what they do. Look at their work. Look at their handiwork. Look at what's going on in Iran. Esau is trying to mark Iran as a terrorist organization or a terrorist country. But these other countries and these other heathen nations are starting to figure out who the real terrorist is. And it's Esau, so-called white man. But without further ado, get a few scriptures, get right into it. This is Job chapter 9, verse 24, a real popular verse. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? See, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Esau, the so-called white man, is the wicked. The banking elites, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and so forth and so forth, the Wentworths and the Clintons and all them. They are the wicked. The earth has been given into their hands. And because the earth has been given into their hands, the earth and the people are mourning because the wicked are in rule. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. He's covered up who the true Israelites is. He's covered up the image of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. He done covered everything up and presented people with these lies and these falsehoods and these false doctrines and crazy beliefs. You know what I'm saying? And if he was not the wicked, well then where is he? And who is he? Who is the wicked? If the so-called white man ain't, then who is? If Esau ain't, then who is? This is what this verse is asking. Again, I'm going to read it one more time. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? If he is not the wicked, he is not the one that's wrong with the earth, then who is it? Well, you know, as I said, Esau like to label everybody else terrorists but himself. When he's the main terrorist, he goes around terrorizing every country, collapsing their government with all kind of manner of whack tariffs, sanctions, and different things of the sort. This is what he does because Esau is the real terrorist upon this earth. They're the real terrorists. They're the real murderers, the real killers. That's where you get the word criminal from. It comes from crimson. Crimson is red. Look at the nation of Edom. They are red. So now you know who the real criminals are. Continue. This is Habakkuk. Chapter 1, I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, behold ye among the heathen and regard and wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days which ye will not believe, though it be told to you. See, the Most High is saying, through Habakkuk, he is saying, behold ye among the heathen. Esau, you a heathen. So behold, watch, pay attention, listen up, and wonder marvelously. Be in astonishment, be in awe, because the Heavenly Father is going to work a work in your days which you will not believe, though it be told to you. The brothers get out on the highways and the byways, do these sit-down videos week in and week out, telling you the downfall of your sinful kingdom, Esau. That you will be destroyed, that you will be put into slavery, that you will no longer be in power. Salakia. That your monetary system, your gold, and all that stuff will be nothing. And it will not save you. But though it be told to you, you don't believe it. Well, the Most High going to prove you wrong. He going to prove his men of the Lord that he set up of himself. He going to prove them right. He going to prove himself to be right. Esau's the real terrorist. And you need to wonder. You know what I'm saying? You need to wonder and marvel, wonder marvelously. You need to be in amazement and astonishment because, again, Esau, the so-called white man, is the real terrorist upon this earth. Esau is the terrorist upon this earth. And his kingdom and his regime, his whole power structure is failing and is going to go down, and he will no more be in power ever again, according to the scriptures. Continuing. And this is how you know that they're the murderers. Esau, or the so-called, are the murderers of this world. Continuing. This is verse 6 of Habakkuk chapter 1. says, for lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. Chaldean is another word for Esau, Idumean, Basra, Petra, Mount Seir. Esau is the real terrorist upon this earth. The Most High say he raised them up, that bitter and hasty nation. And they are bitter and they are a hasty nation. They are hasting to their destruction. And they are a bitter nation. They march through all the land, through the width, and possess lands and dwell in places that are not theirs. Verse 7. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. See, they are terrible and dreadful. Esau is very terrible. He is very dreadful. He is very hated. He is very disliked. He's a bully. He tried everybody on the planet. But see, now all these other nations are starting to rise up against him. Even the nation of Edom is starting to rise up against the nation of Edom. The so-called white people rising up against each other. They fighting each other now. They're starting to be divided amongst themselves. Continuing. Their horses are swifter than leopards, and more fierce, Salakia, than the evening wolves, and their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far, and they shall fly as the eagle that hastens to eat. That's just talking about his power, his military might, in which he uses to topple governments, to collapse economies in other countries, and cause problems around the earth. Verse 9. They shall come for all violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind. They shall gather the captivity as the sand. They gonna come and they just gonna cause all manner of havoc. That is what Esau does, because why? He is the real terrorist upon this earth. He tries to label everybody else a terrorist, but he's the true terrorist. You know, I was watching a video. I ain't watch it totally, but I caught clips and, instances of it, because I was watching other videos as well. You got one Edomite talking about they're trying to use the nations of this earth, or the people of this earth are trying to use the so-called white people as a scapegoat. Y'all are not a scapegoat. Esau is not a scapegoat. He is the culprit. He is the one that is actually wrong and in red-handed, red-manded, basically, because he's a red man. He's not white. He's that terrorist. Continuing. Verse 10 says, and they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. They scoff at the other kingdoms of this of the earth. They bow up, they huff and puff at other nations. They bully other nations. This is what they do. But these other nations eventually is going to be a scorn unto them. These other nations are going to rise up and band together and destroy Esau, the so-called white man, the biblical Edomites. You can label this as hate speech all you want, but it's not hate speech. It's according to the scriptures. It's according to what the Heavenly Father says. He says, Esau, you Edomites, you will be destroyed. Guess what? You will be destroyed. He said, the Heavenly Father says you're a murderer and a thief. Guess what? You're a murderer and a thief. Esau, point blank, period. Verse 11, my last point. It says, then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this power put unto his power, or put unto his God. His mind is going to change. He's going to think to try and take over things, way past what he needs to take over. And he shall pass over and offend. He offends around the country. He offends around the world. Don't nobody like him. Everybody's sick of him. Point blank, period. Don't nobody like Esau. You know, they was putting up with him. They was doing business with him. You know, he's the author of this well-favored harlot, i.e. America, Babylon. But for the most part, these other nations are going to rise up and they're going to destroy him. But it was just a quick lesson. I didn't want to be before you too long. Esau is the real terrorist. Shalom.